The cold wind outside howled as I sat in my dimly lit room, staring at the half-empty basket of aubergines on the counter. They were beautiful, their purple skin gleaming in the low light. But there was something wrong about them. Something I couldn't quite place. The first time I had heard the word aubergine in my head, it was soft, like a whisper from the past. At first, I thought it was a random thought, a fleeting moment of confusion. But the whispers grew louder, and they began to invade every waking moment. Aubergines. 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 The words echoed in my mind, an unrelenting chant that refused to stop. Every time I walked past a store, every time I opened my fridge, I felt the pressure build on my chest. I could hear them, see them, smell them. Their presence consumed me. It was an obsession that I could not shake. I tried to avoid them, but it didn't matter. The aubergines found me. I went into town one evening, desperate to find something to occupy my mind. The grocery store was busy, people rushing to and fro, and there they were, stacked high in baskets, their deep purple skin catching the fluorescent lights. My breath caught in my throat, and my hands trembled. I had to leave. But before I could turn away, I noticed him. An old man stood by the produce section, his pale eyes locked onto mine with an unsettling intensity. His skin was so thin it looked as though it might tear at any moment, but his eyes, those eyes were ageless. He looked at me, his lips curling into a knowing smile. Aubergines, he whispered, and it was as if he had invaded my thoughts. I couldn't move. Something inside me clicked, and a wave of terror washed over me. I had to leave. I grabbed a handful of random vegetables, my hands clammy, and hurried to the checkout. The old man's voice followed me, whispering with each step. Aubergines. Over the next few weeks, I tried to ignore the old man. I tried to block out the persistent voice that plagued my mind. But he appeared again, always at the same grocery store, always watching me from afar. I saw him standing near the aubergines, his eyes locked onto mine. I couldn't understand why, but every time he was near, the whispers in my head grew louder, more demanding. One evening, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the store at closing time, hoping to find some peace, some clarity. But as I entered, I saw him again, standing at the far end of the aisle. This time, he spoke to me directly. "You can't escape them," he said, his voice low and gravelly, as if it had been worn down by centuries of use. "The aubergines are calling you." I backed away, but my feet were frozen. His gaze held me captive, and for a moment, I wondered if I had been cursed. "You don't understand, do you?" he continued. "They grant life, but at a price." The words hit me like a punch to the stomach. I felt dizzy, as if the air had been sucked from the room. I looked down at the aubergines in front of me, and for the first time, I saw them for what they truly were, vessels of power. The old man's voice was a whisper now, almost drowned out by the noise in my mind. "You've been chosen. You'll do it, won't you?" The next few days were filled with a sense of dread. The whispers were now louder, more insistent, like an invisible force pulling me towards something I couldn't understand. Every time I walked past the aubergines in the store, I felt the irresistible urge to pick them up, to buy them, to take them home. The fear was growing inside me, but so was something else, a deep, gnawing hunger. I found myself buying more and more aubergines. I couldn't stop. Each time I put them in my cart, a sense of power washed over me, an unexplainable connection to the vegetables that I could not break. They were calling me. Their deep purple skin seemed to shimmer in the store's fluorescent lights, and as I touched them, I felt something dark and ancient. I couldn't stop. It had taken root in me, and it wouldn't let go. That night, in my kitchen, I stood before a pile of aubergines, my heart pounding in my chest. I had to do it. The whispers were deafening now, pushing me toward the ritual. I knew what I had to do, but every fiber of my being screamed against it. I tried to push the thought away, but it was impossible. I had to perform the ritual. I grabbed the sharp knife from the counter and sliced the aubergines open, their flesh cool and smooth. I began to rub them over my skin, feeling the slick texture against my body. My breath came in short gasps, my hands trembling, but there was something exhilarating about it. As I did this, I chanted the words, not sure where they had come from, but knowing that they were important. Aubergines. 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 As I spoke the words, I felt something shift within me. The air grew thick, and my body began to tingle with a strange energy. It was as though the aubergines were giving me something more than just nourishment. It was power. It was life. And with each word, I felt myself grow stronger, more alive. But then, it happened. A rush of energy, too much to bear, surged through me. My body convulsed, and I screamed, but no sound escaped. I felt my skin stretch and twist, my limbs weakening as though the life was being drained from me. It was too much. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. Suddenly, there was silence. I opened my eyes and looked at the old man standing in the doorway. He was grinning, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. He had been watching me the entire time. "You did it," he said softly, his voice almost a purr. "You've given me what I need." I looked at him in confusion, my mind swimming in a haze. What did I do?" He stepped closer, his face now illuminated by the flickering candlelight. "You've been feeding me all along. Every time you performed the ritual, you gave me your life force. And now, I am stronger than ever. You see, the aubergines aren't just food. They're a conduit. A conduit for power, for immortality." The words hit me like a slap. I staggered backward, my head spinning. The realization crashed over me like a wave. The aubergines, they weren't a curse. They were a trap. A trap for me. A trap for anyone who was foolish enough to seek their power. But it was too late. The ritual had already taken its toll. My body felt weak, my mind slipping away as the energy drained from me. And yet, the old man stood before me, stronger than ever, his skin now glowing with vitality. "You see," he said with a twisted smile, "I will live forever, thanks to you." I wanted to scream, to fight, to do anything, but my body wouldn't respond. I was powerless. The whispers, the chants, the power, everything had been a lie. And now I was nothing more than a vessel, empty and drained, while the old man thrived on my soul. I had made my choice, and now I would pay the price.